Hello everyone, my name is Mordecai and welcome back. This week is going to be a tips video, so I'm going to have probably about, 7 or 8 tips. I'm not going to really give an exact number. I'm just going to try to run off as many as I can think of that would be useful to help educate some of the newer players. This is kind of my way of trying to say, don't make the same mistakes I did leveling up and playing the game, so you can be a better player, you can better manage and use your resources. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to jump right into it. Alright guys, I think the first one that I would like to cover is kind of the schematics, the different weapons, the different, ranged weapons, melee weapons, traps, you name it. Those different things you're going to get as you naturally play the game from rewards and from events. My suggestion to you as a new player is no matter what you get, whether it's an uncommon, rare, or whatever, hang on to them at first, especially the epics and legendaries. Those you should definitely hang on to until you have a true understanding of the game. And what that's going to do is allow you to experiment and try different things because, case in point, I don't like shotguns very much in this game. And in fact, I don't use any. And some of the higher level players may think that's crazy, but it's just not my cup of tea, not my play style. You don't really know what your play style is coming into this game until you've had a chance to play around with it. So, maybe make a copper type weapon, try it out, a couple of level missions, see how it handles, because you never know. Not only that, something that you've gotten in an event now may become very powerful later in the game because of a new hero or a new strategy or new thing. So kind of hang on to them, don't just recycle them just to get rid of them and get manuals and experience, because believe me, you're going to be swimming in that stuff as you continue playing the game. So first tip, always hang on to those weapons, man. You never know what you're going to be able to use later down the road. Alright guys, the next one I would like to cover is going to be on the Flux, and it's going to be in your Resources tab. So I'm sure many of you may have some uncommon, maybe rare. I don't even know if there's uncommon, I probably shouldn't have said that. I know there's rare Flux. But all those different types of Flux, you should definitely be using those, especially as you're leveling up, because it'll allow you to test different weapons, test different things so you can try them out. And the big thing right here is on the Epic, which I just got my mouse here on. This stuff is fantastic, and a lot of new players don't realize that it's very powerful if used properly. The biggest thing, and some of you might be going, well, why? The Legendary lets me make, research Legendary schematics or upgrade things and stuff like that, and you're right, it's very important, don't get me wrong. But the Epic Flux is where it's at, guys, I'm telling you. And I can show you exactly what I mean right now. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to find let me find a ranged weapon. What do I want to use? Let's go with pistols. Let's say there's a pistol in here I want to use, and it's the Falcon. Alright, instead of going for the legendary one, which you can see right here, I could go for it, you can do that. And the biggest reason why I say don't do that is you're going to automatically get the 6 perk on the legendary, whereas the epic, you're not. And the biggest reason why I say you want to go with the epic first is you're going to use 100 Epic Flux in order to test a weapon. So let me scroll over here real fast and find something so I can better tell you or show you what I'm trying to do. So let's say I want to upgrade this crank shot and I want to make it legendary because I'm looking for a specific 6 perk on it. And what I do is go to upgrade, I'm going to go to increase rarity, and what that does is going to tell me I can use my 100 legendary flux, and bam, I can now see what my 6 perk is going to be. So I'm like, yeah, that really wasn't what I wanted, so I can go research another one. Do increased rarity, bam, I got affliction. Maybe that's what I wanted, so I could say, that's what I really want, I'm going to do that. So again, Epic Flux, very powerful for that reason. So again, you can, you can do this for any of them. What was I under? Pistols. Let me go back down here and I can say research, and then it shows 100 Epic Flux. That's why I said buy it with Epic, and then try to upgrade it so you can see the 6 perk. Otherwise, you're just going to be researching a schematic, wasting 100 flux in a gamble without knowing what you're getting. So do that, guys. Do it, do it, do it. It's very important. I just don't want to see you waste your hard-earned materials. So I'm going to stop rambling about this one, and we'll move on to the next one. Alright guys, unfortunately I got to use existing footage I already have because I came home today and my internet was out, so I couldn't get the last little bit of footage I needed to finish this up. So I'm going to throw this in here as a small tidbit that I forgot to cover when I recorded the segment about weapons. So I'm going to try to make this as brief as I can. When you're in Stonewood and in Plankerton, really in my opinion, the only 2 types of weapons you should really get are the physical type for the normal husks, and go ahead and get you a decent energy weapon, something you can use for that, and use that as your primary thing against the elementals. I would not really focus on the elementals for your sake until you get towards the middle to end of Canny, until you start making it into Twine, and then I would try to find event weapons you have a bunch of that you can maybe make fire and water and nature elements out of, and use those, because in the earlier stages I would say you're not really going to get a good benefit out of those, but when you get to Twine especially, and much further on, the elemental weapons pay dividends. In fact, I highly recommend you get elemental weapons by then. So that's my small tidbit, from me to you. If I could go back in time and tell myself not to focus on the elements up front, I would have, and I would have saved a lot of material and honestly a lot of headache. So early game, focus on physical and energy, my personal opinion. After that, again, late Canny to Twine, start looking around for a good weapon set that you can make into elementals and focus on that. So that's what I recommend for you on that one, and I'm going to cut over and go to the next segment. Alright, you guys have definitely heard me mention this one in many of my other videos, and that's going to be dealing with expeditions within the game. If you're like me and you have a full-time job, you can't always sit in front of the computer and farm materials all day as much as I would love to. So these expedition squads are great. You got some maybe some heroes laying around that you're not using. You're about to go to work for the next, I don't know, maybe 8 to 12 hours or so. You can go into these expeditions, find one that you like that'll give you whatever you're after, whether it be bacon or herbs or mechanical parts or bolts, whatever you're after. Send those heroes out, and when you come back from work, hopefully, the expedition should be done, and you will have all those things waiting on you, and it's level appropriate. So the higher the level, the higher the resources, with the exception of the 5-star. None of those actually do 5-star. As I'm kind of talking about this, I'm showing you it uses people, it uses research. You can throw in the different heroes, and as you slot them in, the percentage, as you can see, will go up. And that changes depending on if you have a rowboat, a speedboat, if it has a slot bonus, as you can see on the left, the legendary soldier. It's all dependent on that. So you're basically just throwing in some heroes, trying to match what you can, get as high percentage as you can, send them off, go to work, go to bed, go to school, whatever it is you got to do. And then hopefully when you come back, you'll have those extra resources waiting on you without really a whole lot of effort. So I've ran this one in the ground in so many videos, and I highly recommend that you guys do that. It's very nice, especially for somebody like me, and I know many of you that work or go to school. It's a nice little way to get the extra materials in. Alright guys, the next one I would like to talk about is the transformations. So I'm going to go over here and kind of show you what I'm talking about. As you're playing the game, you're going to get transformations, whether they be from missions or quest rewards. And what that allows you to do is transform some of your items in your backpack, or not backpack, in your armory, for other items that you could use. So you can get different weapons, different heroes for honestly swapping out things you just don't want. So I'm going to show you an example here. So the spear requires 500 points, and I can slot 5 different items. So again, I can slot heroes like I got here, I can slot other weapons, I can slot traps, I can slot whatever. So I'm just going to start throwing some stuff in here and kind of show you what I'm getting at. If you look on the right, you're going to see schematic XP was going up. So now if I slot a, I don't know, a survivor, or let me just, you know what, I'll just pick one, there we go. Or you know what, maybe I should use, yeah, I'm going to use these because I don't need these anymore. So I can do 3 of those and 2 weapons, and then bam, I'm getting survivor XP, schematic XP, and in return, I'm getting a new item. So I can always recycle that one later if I don't like it. So it's a nice way to get materials and stuff back and get a weapon. The backdrop of this, you don't get manuals. So there's kind of a balance. You do want to recycle some, but you want to do some transformations too. So definitely keep that in mind, guys. It's not something you have to do, but it's a nice way to manage your minimal resources up front at the start. Next on the list will be your gadgets, and this is kind of one that, I'll be honest with you, I almost didn't record this section because I really didn't know how to go about presenting it, but in the higher levels, I tend to only use the hover turret and the slow field. Like I got slow field selected here, and the hover turret. Those are the 2 I tend to use the most based on my playstyle. Adrenaline Rush in the early levels is definitely very good. The banner is also another good one too. If that's especially if you play a constructor and in some of these harder missions that have been coming into the game, they're nice. When everybody dies, you can respawn back at the banner. But the big ones, if it was me as a new player, I would focus on the slow field, the hover turret, and the adrenaline rush for now. Fun fact, in case you wanted to put points in this, proximity mine is nice for those trap vulnerable bosses. So as you're playing maybe through Plankerton, you get a boss that you just can't kill because he says trap vulnerable boss, and you don't have any trap tunnels or any traps to put down. If you have a proximity mine as one of your gadgets, you can take him down with that, no problem. Wouldn't recommend doing it all the time, but hey, if you're in a bind and you got to do something, proximity mine is a really, really nice way to take those things out. Alright guys, the next one I think is going to be a fairly quick one too, and it's revolving around the store. So if you go to the in-game store here to the item shop where you spend your gold, everything here on this right side, since it says weekly store, obviously it's going to last 7 days. If there's an event-based weapon on this side, you need to buy it first, in my humble opinion, over everything else. Because once that week is gone, that item disappears and you may not see it again. You don't ever know. So buy that item first. After you buy that item, you need to buy the evolution materials that I'm getting ready to scroll to right here in just a second. So you want to focus on these right here. The Pure Drops Rain, the Lightning in the Bottle, Eye of the Storm, and Storm Shards. Buy those, even if you don't need them now. Keep buying them. Always buy them. Every single week they're there, you buy them. I'm going to say it again. Buy it, buy it, buy it. Because you will need those in the future. Believe me, you will definitely need those in the future. After you buy those two and the event weapon, the other item I would recommend is the reperk, because that's another one. Believe me, you're always going to want reperk. So again, event weapon, then your Evo materials and your reperk. Those should be your first focus. After that, honestly, buy whatever you want, but I still highly recommend you buy those first, because when you finally get to Canny, you finally get to Twine, you're gonna be like, man, I'm really glad I was buying those items, because now it's not holding me back. I can level my survivors. I can level my heroes. I really wish I had done that my first time through when the shop was finally introduced. So learn from my mistake. Do that. Always buy those. After that, it's totally up to you what you want to get. Alright guys, the next one I'm going to cover is dealing with the specific mission types. So to maybe help players understand why they can use certain defenders in one mission but can't during another. And to better help you understand that is, these missions right here where I'm moving my mouse around to kind of show you, these mission types are what I would call a standard mission. With the exception of this one right here, which is what I would call a storm type mission, where you would have modifiers, which you saw there on the left. That is a normal, what I call a normal mission, and that means I can go in there, I can get 3 of my buddies, we can fight the horde, do whatever we got to do, and that's it. I can't put down additional defenders. But if I go to this mission, the repair the shelter, and you see the 4 little individual guys here underneath the mission icon, if I have me and 3 of my friends on my friends list, let's say we're all in this mission together, and we're starting to build our base, and we're like, you know, we may not be able to handle this mission type without some help. We can each put down a defender pad if we want to, and put down a defender. So there will be 4 of us plus 4 NPC defenders, or just one player can put down 4 and put, you know, 4 defenders down. But you can only have 4 defenders. Keep that in mind. No more than 4. It will start replacing them as you try to put more down. So you will have you and your 3 buddies plus the 4 NPCs plus whatever fortifications or trap tunnels you may have put up. That's a nice little bonus, man. You can really hold your own with that. And a lot of players didn't understand that you can put down multiple only in that mission type. They would try to do it in the normal ones, or see somebody and go, well, why does it work here but not work here? That's why. If it's a 4-player mission, you can put down defenders to help you and your other squad mates, but only in those 4-player type missions right here with the little icons under them. If it doesn't have that, you can't do it unless it's just maybe you and a friend with no other player in the game. Then you and your friend can each put down a defender and make it quote-unquote 4 players. But again, if you have 4 human players in there, you can't do it. So again, that's just a nice little gesture, because I didn't know that when I first started playing the game. It took me a while to figure that out. So hopefully this helps you in that regard. Alright guys, just hang with me a little bit longer. I'm actually almost done. There was something I wanted to show you before I cut out at the end of the video, and that was in the collection book. Many of you may know that when an event's going on, you can't research a schematic, and even after it's gone, you can no longer research a schematic. There's one small exception to that. Last year, and I'm going to show you right here, prove a point. This is the most recent event. You can't research it. During the Blockbuster event last year, you got these military weapons. With it, they introduced the Bald Eagle. And they did not put it with the military set until much later. So, if you go right here and you actually click on the Bald Eagle, whether it be the Epic or the Legendary version, you can research it. I don't know that a whole lot of people, there may be a lot of people that actually do know this, but I've not actually seen anybody talk about it, at least not that I've seen. You can research the Bald Eagle even though it was technically an event schematic. It came out at the time of the Blockbuster event. If you are a new player and you like the pistol type heroes, like the Outlanders that specialize in the pistols, I would highly recommend you get the Bald Eagle. It's honestly a very nice weapon. You could even get it in all 3 elements, and it could be your Smasher Killer if you really want it to be that. I highly recommend it. To prove a point, I'm going to go to some of the others. You can see here, I have no research ability. It's only the Bald Eagle. So keep that in mind if you're after a certain type of pistol. You can definitely still do the Bald Eagle because it technically was and was not part of the set. But with that, guys, I think that's all I can think of right now. I'm sorry if it wasn't what you were expecting, but I hope these tips, maybe from brand new players who didn't know them, it will definitely help you guys out. And maybe next week, I think is going to be the week I'm going to try to cover things like how the Husk path and things like that to kind of help you guys understand, if you don't know, how that works. So that's really all I got, guys. I will see you guys next week, and I honestly hope this guide was helpful because it would have helped me back in the day.